and it
percent.
we got, so here's what I'm calling number one, and you find out what page it is. Is that the back of the front page? The actual number one? So we're actually picking up on the actual second piece of paper where it's 2. We were searching for it. It hasn't yet. This thing here. We looked and searched, if nothing else. We were able to visit the BLS. We have to give like a 10, David. We're going to go back in there. So this is, we found ourselves going in. Today you can go in, you're going to hit home, and we're going to use the search box to help us. So let's find out what's real and what's not real. Let's pause this. Did I just pause? So that's not real. Let's see if I can get to the actual thing and pause it. So we're going to find out if the percentage of, we're dealing with number 2. And from there, we're going to find out if the percentage that we got on our survey was the same as the one that the Bureau of Labor Statistics got. So I'll read it out. Number 2, find out if the percentage you got in your survey matches the percentage that the Bureau of Labor Statistics found. Compare the 2 percentage values from the survey and your survey and the Bureau of Labor Statistics. So again, I gave you your number, either a 5 out of 20, 1 out of 20. Marcos, what was yours? Was yours a 1 out of 22?
Yeah.
Or 1 out of 2. We got a lot of 1 out of 20s. I wish there was some different numbers. In any case, write your fraction, turn it into a decimal, turn it into a percent, because right now what we're going to do is do the same thing, but with some real numbers. Where do I want you to go? Go to the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, go home. The group, the way we're going to find what your group was in the whole U.S., we're going to type into the search category. We're going to type into the search category, occupation, where's my thing? Occupational employment by group, where is it? Yeah. Employment by group is what you're going to type into the search field. So here it comes. Up here, let's say you're at home. I don't know why my home looks different than yours. I'm going to come in here to the search field, and I want you to do the same. You can type in occupation, or rather employment, by, normally you would type in cluster, but for the BLS, they don't call their clusters that, they call their clusters groups. So what we found on CareerWise to be clusters, here you're going to type in group. Hit your enter or the little search guy. Once you do that, where am I? You have this link here, employment by major occupation group. Okay. Once you click on that, it'll go to a table. So right now I'm just going to check for you to make sure that either you're here or you're at that table. Because once you get to that table, that's where you're going to start searching your group, and you're going to put in some numbers. So let's see there. So still on here, you're going to go to home, just like I did up here. And when you're in home, you're going to type in employment by group. If I backed it up, would it just take it right back to what I typed in? So you're typing in employment by group, just like on the board. Once you do that, there's going to be a big table that shows up. Click on the employment by group. I see Dave, okay. And then that big table will show up. Boom, okay, I see Marcus, a big table. I see it there. And then hit enter, and that way it should take it to some choices. I'm going to teach you how to read those numbers. So they give you a bunch of numbers and they have point whatever. I'll grab another computer too, and that way, don't turn that one off, but we have 2 going. All right, so we'll get her another computer. Once you have that, you need the total, the denominator. Just like 1 out of 20 got you the 5%, 5 out of 20 will probably get you 25. Yeah, that'll get you 25%. When we click on this guy, all right, I got my table. Let's see, will I be able to see, or will I need to? Okay. So again, you'll notice here all along the left, it'll have each of the names of the categories. It doesn't have them in alphabetical order, so you might have to look for yours. When you look for yours, whether it's healthcare, is that the blue one? Oh. Oh, okay. But open that guy up too, because it's going to keep slowing you down, and that way you can get the fast ones going. Nonetheless, your total is going to be right here at the very top. So all the people that we're talking about are there. Let me write something on this one. If I were actually writing out this 150, 539.9, because it's a groups of 1,000, this point at the end just translates into 900, 900, or this 0.8 translates into 800. Can someone say out loud what this 0.5 would translate into?
500.
Yeah, 500. So if I were writing it out, this decimal allows us not to have 3 more digits. But in this case, when it's time for you to write it down, you will actually write it down with the last 3 digits. So if I were writing it out, 150, 539, 900 is going to be the denominator for everyone. Now, where are they ultimately going to write this? In part 2, see if I can bring mine up. If I were looking for you, I would look here. So where are they going to be trying to write this information? You're going to be writing it right in here. Now, I'm going to write the big numbers here to begin with, so that I have my information. Then my small numbers, I'm going to write my big numbers here to begin with, to find the percentage that the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, the information they got. Then over here, I'll put my information, my 1 out of 20. I think I had a 1 out of 22. I forget what mine was. Where's mine? I didn't write mine down. But I'll write down my fraction, my percent. And I don't know how small you write that. They're asking you to compare the two. Yeah, I guess you can say something about the two numbers. One is more than the other, one is less than the other. Or some comparison, or they're equal. So let's see if I can get some numbers here. Someone say out loud, oh, I didn't fix whatever I need to fix. Do it on your paper while I try and fix this. What is that you're doing? You're going to write your fraction with that long, super big number on the bottom. How many of your people in 2014, which is the latest statistics they have the other thing? That will be in your category next to your name. When you get your numbers, you can ask about them. But let's be right on here. I'll close it and open it up again. But if you're business financial, your numbers are just there waiting for you. Architecture and engineering, your numbers are just waiting there for you. And again, it's these numbers here that you're comparing to the very top one. So this guy is your denominator. This is your numerator, and with your calculator, you're going to find out what percent that is of it. It'll give you a decimal. You move the decimal 2 places to the right, and that'll get you a percent. While you're doing that, what was that big bottom number? If you could give it to me from the BLS. What was the first the denominator? The bottom number first.
Oh, yeah, it was 150,539, 900.
And so for this guy, because we added the 900, now that makes it 150 million. It makes it a super big number. What was your section? Was architecture and engineering? Yeah. Okay. Arc. And in shorthanding there now. We're doing Marco's numbers. So if you're watching this video to figure out what to do, you would choose your section from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, which again is the page that looks like this guy here. So we got here, and watch the beginning of the video to tell you where the numbers. And so I see your number 2532, 700 is what you put on top of yours, Marco?
On top?
What did
I
you?
put 2,532,700.
All right, let's see. Let's see if what I put matches up with what you would put. Based on what I saw here, I put the 2532. I put the 2532 for sure. I put in green 2532, and I think it was a 0.7.
Yeah.
That 0.7 will turn into that guy there. All right. Now again, you'd be putting your numbers, and once we hit this, hit that 2,532,700 divided by this 150, 539,900. Let's find out what yours comes out to. I'll ask some of your other numbers, so everyone else pop out your number, get ready to say your number. Obviously, two are going to match, and I think you have a single, so I don't know what your top number will be. What does that come out to? So you just giving them individually.
0.016824.
4, let's see. Yeah, 4 digits will do. Yeah. So if you do a super long one, that's fine. When you say yours, I'm going to go around them and ask them. You can say 0.0168 or 0.0168. That way, I will have heard your numbers. And then we'll tell you, well, first let me turn this into a percent, and then we'll ask for your, each individual's numbers. To turn that into percent, of course, we move the decimal point 2 places to the right. For anyone who you're about to get out of high school, you're finished with math, and you're not sure, like, why is it that you only move it 2 places? A percent is comparing something to the number 100. Whenever you hear something percent, something has been compared to the number 100. To turn a decimal into percent, you wind up having to multiply this decimal by some number. That number happens to be 100. When you multiply 100 times a number, all it does is it moves the decimal point 2 places to the right, no matter what that number started out as. So this guy, 1.68 now percent. 1.68 percent. Of the U.S. population, or this working number here, only 1.68 of them, percent of them, are in the category of architecture and engineering. That's what these numbers are saying. Our survey, your survey, what percentage your survey say it would be? In other words, what did we get? We've done, if you back up on to number 1, I think it was, that we did last time. If you back up to number 1, let's see if this thing moved. Did we put anything on yours? Did we write the fraction 1/20 or anything?
1/20.
And then what did we say that's equal, or did we say equal to anything?
5%.
Uh-huh. So on his, when we compared what the Bureau of, the BLS did for the whole United States, they came with the idea that, I agree some, that for architecture and engineering, that cluster, that group, only 1.68% of them, of people are working that, or are interested or are working in that arena, or in that group. Why things disappeared, I don't know. But for our little survey we did at school here, we determined that based on ours, for Marco's up here, our survey said that 1 out of 20, trying to make the colors match so you can make the connection. 1 out of 20 produced that same architecture and engineering, and when we did the percent on that, we got 0.05, which when you turn it into a percent equals 5%. Okay. Take a look at those 2 things, because the next question you're going to be asked is which survey do you think is more acceptable? The one where they surveyed hundreds, perhaps even thousands of people, to say something about the millions of people in the U.S., or the survey that we did here at school, where we checked in on 20 students to say something about millions of people in the U.S. In other words, our survey still allows us to say we think in the U.S. there are 5% of the total will be interested in the area of engineering and architecture, or may even be working in that area. Okay. So do me a favor, see if you can respond to, this at the bottom of this page, 2 of 4-4. There are 4-4 sections. And what that means is, this is problem number 2. This is number 2. Then there's a 3. Then there's a 4. And either they miscounted, so they did another 4. So instead of me just saying there are 5 sections, for my knowledge to know where we are, 2 of 4-4 when we get to the next page, or the next number, we'll do 3 of 4-4. All right, Tina, the next page goes to 3. Let's see what's in 3. Okay. 3 goes to the idea of, and I guess I can do an example, although some of you may already know how to do it. First, put a check mark above the 2 section in this 3. This is one of those where you'll be able to do more than, you'll definitely be able to actually do a 4 on this one, because the 2 things you're going to do are basically the same. The numbers are a little different. So let's say, since it happens to be up here on the board, based on both, are we recording now? Yes. Based on both your survey results and the percent you found in your research, that is our thing. And again, the way they planned this out, each individual would have given 20 surveys to people, which, again, if I did it again, I'd break it up in class, because 20 people trying to find, each student trying to find 20 different people, or even overlapping people. I don't know if that was the intent of it. It says here, how many people, random people out of 1,000, would also choose your career cluster. In other words, take now that you have your percent based on our survey. In this case, Marcos, and I guess David, since they have the same number, about how many out of 1,000 people would, based on this percent, how many of those people would be working in this cluster? Of course, I'm going to do it with, I'll pretend that it's 3, that way I don't do theirs for them. I wish that my category was there. I don't remember what my category was. But again, let's say mine came out to 3%. How am I going to write this so that it looks proper? I know I'm going to be multiplying 1,000 times some percentage. If it were me, I'm making it 3%. Of course, as you know, you don't multiply numbers times percent, so you turn them into decimals. So basically what they're asking is, hey Thomas, out of 1,000 people, if I were to multiply them times 3%, how do I do 3%? Cross out, 1, 2, which makes that 0.03. How many people out of a random 1,000 would be doing, in my case, let's make it, let's make it come on, just choose one matter, doesn't matter. I'll say construction, even though construction has a different percentage. Let's make it math. There's math. Hey, math. Math has its own category. Other than math teacher. Somebody in the calculator, do me a favor. Hit 1,000 times 0.03, please. All right. So I got 30 people. For every 1,000 people, based on my score, it says that 30 people would be doing that thing. Then you're going to do it down at the bottom. They're saying for California, based on the time that this was made, there are 18 million people in California. How many, again, using your same percent, would be for out of 18 million? Basically, what they're trying to see if you can do is, now that you did a small survey, can you say stuff about a larger scenario? Well, if 1 out of my 20 will do it, then how many out of 1,000? Okay, whatever the percent is, I'll multiply that by 1,000. If I can do it for 1,000, I can do it for 18 million people based on my little survey. All right, so try that. Go ahead. 3 or 4?
Yeah.
All right. So we looked at 3 out of 4-4. Put that on there. I'm going to skip 4 of 4 and go to the next page that has AC, and then we'll come back and plug in those numbers. I think called a margin of error. Yeah, your survey might be good, but could it be off a little bit? Could it be a few more people than what you say? Could it be less people than what you say? And you have to build that in. So we'll do that on that second 4. After we do that on the second 4, then we'll let that be what we. All right. So at the bottom, at the top, at the bottom, of course, I'm putting for this page. The one before it was the original 4. This one is the 4-4, which theoretically could mean of the pages that we're listing. It's the final of those, even though there's something beyond that. At the very top, I wanted you to check mark the 2. These are called rubrics. Rubrics kind of describe, hey, how am I going to kind of get points? Or so 2 is kind of the lowest category. 3 is A-OK, and then 4 obviously exceeds mastery. All right, so what you're going to do now is you're going to explain what was the purpose of the survey that we sent out. Again, because this is going to be the tool that we're submitting, useful sentences, if you can elaborate, say that. But remember, we put all these clusters on here. We were trying to find out something once we sent out this survey about what's here. So without me guiding you too much, just write what you write. We'll hear what we say. And then I'll tell you about B and maybe C, so you can put some in there. Do the formula for the page prior, and then how differently it might be said or how similarly it's said. Explain the purpose of the survey. I know we've been going on. This one I'll take a volunteer to go first, and then we'll include you in this one, Tessa. I don't think I've been asking you on some of the others. So who would like to take this one on first? Then I'm just going to wrap around from whoever that first person is, instead of just choosing a person this time.
The purpose of the survey was to find out how many more people were interested in the same field.
Okay. Let's hear. Oh, now we're going to wrap around to this right. Wrap around this way.
I said to see what percentage of students wanted which jobs.
Which percentage? Which number? Which percentage? Okay. All right. We have David.
Said the same thing as them, except to make a histogram. All those information to make a histogram.
Now say it all together. Let me hear what you kind of put these in.
You said we did the survey to find out what cluster people fall in, and to see the percentage to therefore make a histogram.
Okay, add a histogram element to it. Okay. What do you got on there? Test. Okay. I'll write something and I'll come back, because I don't want to skip you each time. So try explain what the purpose of the survey. That way we don't need numbers on that one. But what we do need, this idea down here, Iwan's writing, is the idea of, is your survey randomized? How do you know? Now this one, again, even as an adult, teaching lessons, all the other tests before, you just have problems and whatever. You never came really across that idea. So I checked in to what it meant by randomized. For a survey to kind of be randomized, you need a lot of people. You also usually need more than one location. And one example of things being randomized could be if, let's say, we were at the front door of the center, and every 5th person that walked in, boom, you get the survey. That's kind of randomized because you don't know who's coming in, who's going to be the 5th person. I know in our case, for some of us, we just kind of went to a group. Obviously, for some of us, people we knew, because we don't want to go to strangers. So that's one way we did it. People who know each other might think alike. So again, here are 3 things, and then you can respond to it, and without me telling you what to write. again, more people that you involve in a survey, the more randomized it will tend to be. Second, the more locations that you involve in it, that is, oh, Fontana, there's options for youth in Rancho, there's one in Chino. It kind of allows for that, so more people, more locations, and then the last one, usually for something to be randomized, the surveyor kind of doesn't have control over who gets it. In other words, oh, every fifth person, no matter who they are, you get it, versus just a bunch of group people you know. So is your survey randomized? How do you know? Again, as you respond to it, use full sentences. Also, see if you can express more than yes, no. That is, highlight perhaps those 3 areas that I did, so that once your document is submitted, it will show that you know more than just a simple version. In any case, is your survey randomized? How do you know? What did you write on that one? And again, right now we're just the old one. All right. Say your answer for the old one. The old one, what we were asking about the old one, the purpose of the survey. Yeah. Okay. What you got on that one? Okay, all right. And the false line was there. It's the beauty of being the fourth one too. Yeah. Helps flesh things out. All right, I guess I'll start with David this time. David, did you write anything on, or what did you write for, is your survey randomized?
No, not really.
Okay, all right. Right, which clearly once I said the stuff, that would be it. But how much you say regarding that will be important. So let me wrap around, come back around to you, and we'll add some meat to that bone, which obviously the bone is right. Tessa, Tina, what you put on there?
I said no, we did not survey a large group of people, as well as we didn't survey at different locations, therefore our completed surveys were not very diverse.
All right. And so that's kind of what they're looking for, the idea of, if you know the elements that make something random, then you can say what thing did or did not happen. Marcos, if you put anything down on that one, or you're putting anything on that one?
I'm putting something.
Okay, all right. But something, that response is there, and that's why I tried to highlight those 3 areas, and actually I probably should put this on the board. That way, if they're not going to just get it from me just saying it. What were the 3 things? And Tina just said one. Oh, you want more people? The more people you have, the better. What was that second one? More locations?
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, how was that one? I put, you usually don't use the same word when someone's asking you about a thing, but random, and I put like every 5th person who walked into the center is an example of a way you keep the surveyor from just choosing, okay, this guy looks like he's going to choose mine, she's going to choose mine, okay, and then he's going to choose mine. Well, if they're random, then you don't get to do that. Walk indoor. Which speaks to the next question about bias. If you got to choose, that is, if it wasn't randomized, you only chose a certain group of people, certain location, and you even got to handpick those people within all of that, how would that affect C? So read C. What kind of bias would that have? Let me see if I can see what the next question says. How does this affect your data? Explain any biases that any your survey may have had. So this is being specific about the one that we did. Because the answer is no, it was not randomized. Write C. Well, how does that affect your 20% or your 25% or like explain any biases, like your survey may have biases. How do I say that? A bias is where you make something do something that you kind of want. Like if you're biased for something or biased against something, then that affects it. So when I say what biases are there, one example is one of our surveyors, he gave it to people who he knew. What kind of bias might be in there? Might those people try to answer the way they think he might? So you got to try and think of at least one bias that might be in our survey on C. but also explain how the fact that B, it wasn't randomized. Well, how does that probably affect your data, your percent? So it's got that 1/20, like, all right, so what might that say about percent? Just even the fact that it was just a few people.
Are we speaking about our surveys or the surveys of the group as a whole?
We're talking about the group, the survey as a group as a whole, as if it were yours. In other words, because we did the 1/20.
Okay.
We did it
So
for
even though
everybody.
mine wasn't biased, everybody else's could have been because they could have known who they gave their
Oh, I
service
see
to.
what you're saying.
Because
Yeah.
mine was.
Right. Because yours was random. You didn't know that guy. So yeah, so you're gonna do it as if it were one big glob of people who produced that single survey. We're trying to respond to one as best you can. So on this one, we answered A, B, and C. C asked about our survey, it being randomized and how it affected. Or C asked, based on the answer for B, the issue of randomization, how did that affect our data? What might that do? D is saying, what about the BLS? What do you think? How random do you think theirs was based on what you know, and how do you think that affected their information? So I'll read it as it's listed here, but that is the gist of it. Let's see here. Contrast randomization from your sample survey with the Bureau of Labor Statistics study, and with at least 3 relevant points. So I see what it's saying here. Based on the 3 things that were at issue with ours, say probably what happened to the Bureau of the BLS's survey. 1, did they have more people? 2, did they use more locations than they used people across the U.S.? And then 3, you may not be able to answer how random do they choose one out of every 5th person. You may not know that. But what they want you to do here is basically comment on the larger one, the BLS, versus our little survey. Take a moment, try to write something with that. So basically you're answering, what you answer for RC, you're answering for D, for the BLS. Favor, read that one more time, team, or say it one more time. I wasn't recording that part, but for Jessica and Oswaldo, when they hear it, they can hear a version of it. Anyone, let's say, testing to maybe rewatch this to catch up with it. Say it again, please.
I believe their survey was randomized. They surveyed a larger group of people over a larger area. We couldn't say how they chose people, but it was random.
Larger group, larger area. The only part I would change is the how they picked. But we couldn't say how they picked and let it be that, because let's just imagine it wasn't random because they did whatever. But I know you're saying, so submitting it, I'd be like, okay, maybe